Finally, this is happening. The very first episode of Storified Africa. I have dreamt of this for years. A space where we could go beyond the headlines and truly hear the stories that shaped some of the people we admire. Let's be honest. We live in a world that loves celebrating success, but rarely talks about the struggles, the rejections that came before success. We see the headlines, the boardroom wins, the glow-ups on LinkedIn, and sometimes we assume that success just happened. In fact, if you scroll up LinkedIn, you will think every career journey was linear. But I have learned something different, that behind every success, there is a story. A story of the late nights, the doubts, the closed doors, and the quiet resilience. And if you're just starting out or navigating a new chapter, you need more than inspiration. You need roadmaps. This is why Storified Africa was born, because too often, those coming behind, they feel like outsiders to their own future, with many young professionals feeling like everyone else has got a map. Take, for instance, the CEO, whose bio simply says 15 years of executive leadership. But what you wouldn't know was that this same guy once missed a job interview because he couldn't afford a transport fare. Or the executive who has silently battled 3 years of infertility while showing up every day strongly in the boardroom. Is it the founder who now raises millions today? But if I told you his first business died after 5 months, these stories, they exist all around us. They are in our homes, in our streets, and in our companies. But too often, they go untold, or they stay hidden beneath suits, titles, and perfect photos. Growing up, these were the kind of stories I wished I heard more of. Stories that show that mechanical engineering wasn't just about turning spanners or a subject reserved for the boys. Stories that would say to me that you could come from a hidden school somewhere in Ole and still make it to global stages. Stories that said you can speak in rooms where no one looks like you. Stories that told me you can do it too. But later, as I mentored others, I see the pattern has not changed. Years ago, I was a young Nigerian woman with a big dream. I wanted to study abroad. I had no connections, no roadmap. All I had was just ambition and lots of faith. I applied for the PTDF scholarship and took the exams, but failed. It was painful. I buried that moment deep down, but I didn't let it bury me. A year later, I tried again. February 2nd that year, I walked into that examination hall with my heart pounding. 3 weeks later, I opened the This Day newspaper and saw my name. That moment, it changed everything. It led me to Cranfield University. It opened doors that I never imagined. Eventually, it led me to INSEAD, where I had my executive MBA. But if you had met me at any point along the way, you might have thought, she's got it all figured out. What you wouldn't see at that time were the long nights, the doubts, the moments I felt like I didn't belong, and the mentors who held me up. This is why I believe stories matter. They remind us that we are not alone, that we are not behind, and that our journey still counts, even when it is messy. This is the heart of Storified Africa. This isn't just another podcast, it is a platform, a space to bring untold stories into light, to bridge the gap between those that have gone ahead and those that are still finding their way. Because legacy isn't just what is left behind, it is what we carry forward. Legacy is the wisdom, the access, and the courage we pass on so the next generation of leaders don't have to start from scratch. In here, you will hear from African leaders across industries sharing the stuff they don't put in keynote speeches. The early mistakes, the real lessons and the defining moments of their journey. And sometimes I will be sharing mine too. So, whether you are a student, an early career, mid-career professional, or that executive looking to pass on the legacy, this space is for you. Because leadership isn't just in the title, they are the map. And let's make our stories work, not for the entertainment, but for impact. I am Efemena Iyede. Welcome to Storified Africa. Subscribe, share, and tag someone whose story deserves to be told, because the world is waiting, and maybe the next story we'll be telling will be yours. Let's get storified.